Okay, so we have Chad Crowe. Chad Crowe he represents, he's from different company. He'll tell you about it probably, but he represents as the biggest non-profitable organization, SEMPO. He probably will tell about it as well. Okay, we always running out of time, so I won't do anything. Chad is all yours.
All right. Well, it's nice to join you guys today. Thank you very much for inviting SEMPO to be a part of it. Now, a little bit about me real quick. I work for a company called Automation Direct. I'm an in-house. I manage SEO as well as our other online properties. So I have I'm a very broad kind of spectrum of specialties and different things. So, but with my job there, I'm also part of the SEMPO research committee, and we did a research report. We do one every year. We call the State of Search report, and I thought that some of the slides and some of the research that we did might apply to you guys as SEOs. You might find very interesting. So I guess without further ado, I'd like to share my desktop and get started with some of the data. All right. Right. Here we go. All right. Got the. You'll see the slides there. Oh. All right. So SEMPO, like Anton said, is a large online nonprofit organization, and again, we do the State of Search research project, but we also do a salary research project every year, and we also have a education committee. So we do webinars and different things through our education committee as well. This is our search industry report, State of Search industry report. Here's some of our partners, some of the people who helped make it happen. And then I want to give you kind of a quick overview of the people who responded to this survey. As you can see, the true power of this survey is that it compares kind of marketing and in-house marketers to agencies. So we separate the data set so that you can see what people are doing in-house versus what people are more likely to put out to an agency, and then try to look and see some comparison data there. And you can see it's pretty much a consistent year over year on how many marketers respond versus how many agencies. And so it's a very consistent marketplace for us as far as the split. Also, you can see that most of the people that responded to this survey are focusing on both B2B and B2C. And this is something that's kind of changed a little bit over the years. It's been very interesting to see how people have kind of broken down the wall between the two and are really starting to marry those platforms. Geography. So you can see it's definitely heavily weighted in the North America area as well as Europe. So again, just trying to give you guys an idea of the different types of people that answered this survey, so that you can take this how you will, and of course the sizes of the companies that responded. You can see small to very lower, small, medium companies responded to it. Lots of 10 to 100 agencies, smaller, and the bigger the company gets, the more likely to have in-house marketers, which makes sense. All right, and so we'll dive into some of the data sets here, and you can see that search is still, from our research project, search is still kind of leading the way in the marketplace for online marketing for us. And you can see agencies are really being relied on for search engine optimization and paid search. So this is good news for SEO agencies. In-house is also very strong in those platforms, but what's very interesting is how strong email marketing is on the in-house side. And I think that is a very important note for SEOs to know, because especially if your SEO program is charged with lead gen, you need to make sure that you can see insights into that email marketing engine that's going through to try to convert those leads, so that you can get more budget, show more revenue, more dollar signs to what you're doing, and get more money. Another real shocking thing for me in this slide is how mobile is not one of the top properties. And one of the things that I think through this is that Mobile marketing is no longer kind of a siloed thing. Hey, let's get people to worry about mobile. It's more of your search engine optimization program has to worry about mobile now, as well as your email has to worry about mobile. Your paid has to worry about mobile. So I think it's more of becoming an important avenue throughout everything you do. And so again, as an SEO, it's a very important thing to remember that mobile might not be one of your top priorities, but of course, as we all know, it's playing into ranking factors now, so it is. I put this slide in. It is a paid search slide, but I thought it would be very interesting to point out to you guys that out of all the properties, Yahoo is kind of irrelevant, is what people said, and that to me is a very strong language to use. But people picked that and said it was irrelevant to their program now, especially on the paid side. And I figured you guys would understand how that goes over into the SEO world. I don't know how much you worry about SEO for Yahoo particularly, but like I said, I thought it was a good data point to show, just because the majority of people said Yahoo was irrelevant. Going on, marketers have limited staff and allocation. So this is a slide to show you how people are hiring for the different platforms and how many people they're putting on staff to it. You see social media is more likely to have 0 to 4 employees, whereas email has a lot more employees. And again, that's speaking to the fact that email is becoming more and more of an in-house task. You can also see people, the industry in itself is starting to understand the how people-heavy SEO is, especially when compared to PPC. And so you can see how that companies are more likely to put more resources, people resources, on SEO, and I think that's also because they're throwing money at paid search, and they just need people to manage the money there. But SEO, of course, takes. I think it's a very people-heavy thing if you're doing it right, and very personal thing. So that to me makes a lot of sense. Here's the biggest challenges for some of the SEO biggest challenges, and I don't think there's any huge surprises here. Of course, you can see measuring ROI and for SEO is pretty much the marketer's biggest challenge, whereas the agency's biggest challenge is getting the budget. And I think those two things are still they're absolutely related. And again, with email being in-house, more likely of an in-house thing, and SEO over here, tying the knot all the way down to revenue becomes a bit harder. But I think it's more important because I think as agencies or SEOs can really tackle the measuring of ROI and help to educate people on that, then getting the budget will follow. Attaining executive buy-in will follow. And again, those are just some of the top challenges that I see from agency side versus marketing side. But I think they're definitely correlated. Something else I found interesting was that marketers say they have a harder time optimizing destination pages. And to me, that kind of blows my mind, right? Because it's their website. You would think they could get in there and make edits to it no problem, where agencies are saying it's not that big of a challenge for them. So I don't know. Again, maybe that's speaking to the fact that in-house marketing teams are definitely focused on the page, when they're leaning on agencies more for the off the page type optimization tasks. And so it becomes more of a challenge for in-house and not agency side. So again, this is a very important detail, especially if you own your own SEO agency or you're a consultant, to know that, like I said, I think in-house people are really trying to own on the page, and so really I think promoting your off-page services would be a very big thing for you. And again, I'm an in-house. That's one of the things that we do at my company, is we really do try to focus on our destination pages and all of those things, and I try to work with other companies and different things to put in some good link building services, because link building is hard. I thought this was also another very interesting slide, and maybe one that y'all might find interesting. On the left here, you can see this was kind of this year's report, and where people are attributing ROI, and where it's good, it's fair versus poor, and where they don't really know. And again, it's funny, email is getting a lot of resources, and there's still a lot of people who don't know how to attribute the ROI on it. Paid search, of course, is definitely one of the most confident ROI, whereas SEO and email are kind of getting neck and neck. But I think these two are so tied together, especially, like I said, if your SEO is charged with link building or with lead generating. And so really understanding that relationship is going to be important. On the right-hand side is where I put together kind of the trend over the last 3 years of where that kind of competency marker has gone when we ask that question. And I find this V-shaped dip very interesting. And I think it happens a lot from kind of late 2012 and 2013. There's lots of conversations about multi-platform attribution, tracking different things through different processes. And so I think competency's dropped, and I think we're kind of building back up to this this new kind of competency level with our integrated programs. But again, I think it speaks a lot to the importance to understanding the relationships between all the platforms, especially for SEOs, to build that competency in reporting on integrated ROI. And the display drop, I find it again very interesting. Everybody's talking about integrated ROI. Display rises, but then the report comes out that display is wasting a lot of money. It drops. So I think it definitely speaks to a market mindset. But I thought it was a good slide. This one again speaks more to marketers and agencies are both using kind of bid management tools consistently, and you can see the breakout there. What I found very interesting about this was that marketers are not using tools as much as agencies are. I find that interesting, but I also think that speaks again to the fact that I think in-house SEOs are really focused on the page versus agencies really looking at link building, because I don't understand how an in-house marketer could do really good link profiling and understand that without using tools. Maybe I'm missing something, but I think this is a good slide to understand for agencies as well as in-house to understand the difference in the relationships as you piece together your SEO programs and what piece is coming from where and how you're going to manage that. Here's another slide that I thought was very interesting. When you look at agencies and how they are asking to be compensated for their work, it's definitely a time and materials or flat fee based I guess the way they're claiming their fees. When you look at marketers and marketers are looking to kind of be more adventurous with pay models, and so I think this is a very interesting opportunity for consulting SEOs and agency SEOs to start maybe looking at how they can take advantage of more interesting fee-based structures for their work. I don't know if that's going to be a good key, but that could definitely be a good shtick for some SEO company out there, because again, marketers I think are asking for more of a variety in how to pay for the services, and agencies seem to be very consistent. But I'm not an agency side, so I don't know how hard that would be for somebody. But I do know from the in-house side that I would love the idea of compensating somebody based on how good the program is doing for me. So I like the idea of tying a commission type or even a pay-per-click type model to it in a way, just to that way I know how to scale my program. I know how the fees are going to scale as the benefit scales. Just something to think about. And again, I put a lot of my own opinion and knowledge in there, but definitely a good slide if you to analyze and think about your page structure as an SEO and what you're charging people and how that's working. When you do fees, I find it very interesting that agencies say they're charging larger fees on average than marketers are saying they're charging, and so this kind of speaks to somebody's lying, right? But I think agencies definitely post larger fees, and then as they understand larger accounts, they give discounts. And if you remember back at the first slide, we talked about how marketers were larger companies and agencies were smaller. And so I know there's a tiered structure, especially for paid. I know they tier it and they charge less of a percent with the more spend. And so I don't know if that's a good thing to translate into the SEO world or not. But just again, another interesting slide to look at and analyze really, what your fee structure looks like. If you do some sort of a percentage to look at what marketers are willing to pay versus what agencies are charging, and see if there's a place you can kind of edge out a niche in there. This slide speaks to the services that are being provided, and I just find it very interesting that there's still a very big pool to kind of specialist agencies, boutique type. People are going to an SEO agency for SEO. They're also going to a web design company, as you can see, but the majority are going to an SEO company for an SEO, and then they're going to a paid search specialist for paid search. And so I think this speaks to, again, if you have your own agency, or you're doing this on a consultancy base, I don't think there's anything to any fear in trying to really specialize and put yourself as an SEO specialist, as opposed to an online marketing all entangled agency that will do everything for you. I don't think that's what people are looking for. That's not, as an in-house, that's not something I would look for. I like going to an SEO specialist for SEO. I like going to a paid specialist when I need help with paid. I just think that makes a lot more sense for the knowledge base. And that's pretty much all the slides that I had to cover. I know we've got, want to do some Q&A. I hope this data was helpful to you. Also, if you've ever thought of joining SEMPO, you can go check out their website. They have a lot of research things on their website. And so you can go check out their website. And this is kind of a sneak peek at the larger survey. There's a ton of information in it. It's so if you're interested in checking out more of it, go visit SEMPO's website and check that all out. So that's all I got. Do we have any questions, Anton?
Yeah, we'll actually kind of follow up. SEMPO. Some audiences don't really know what's SEMPO, so yeah, we still have a few minutes. Can you just explain how it works?
Yeah, so SEMPO, again, it's a search engine marketing professionals organization. They do charge a nominal fee for joining, and they're really trying to position themselves as a voice in the industry. It's one of the larger ones that is around, and they have, like I said, they have different committees who are in charge with education. I get a lot of benefit from the education program. They do consistently do hangouts all the time, and so when things change, there's a large base of marketers who can come in and they can kind of pull from, and they pull people to come and speak to you about it. And so I've gotten a lot of benefit from the organization from that aspect of it, but I also really like the search industry report and the salary report. The salary report, which will come out later this year, I think it's a great tool to use as you try to have, if you're an in-house, have conversations about your pay structure. And then it's also a really good tool to have if you're paying for your SEO, if you're hiring in-house as well. Passing this to your HR department is definitely beneficial, and I look forward to doing some kind of hangouts and some conferences with that search and talking about how I specifically use that research to drive my own income level for and what I'm paid. So I find it very beneficial. It's almost, honestly, that report alone has been well worth it for me joining SEMPO, because that is a members only report, and so I grab that. I sit down. It's a really good conversation piece for my boss and for my HR department. But that's SEMPO. SEMPO, again, they're an industry organization. They're really trying to be there to help tie the industry together, to make it ethical, to give it some sort of structure, and different things like that. Again, just go check out their website. It's really great. I participate in the research committee. I'm not part of the education committee. I'm not part of the membership committee. So I know it might be a little bit more of a sales pitch than I'm meaning to. I'm not charged with getting members for SEMPO. I just think it's a great thing to be part of.
Question, which is general question, and well, I guess there is no answer. What is better, to have in-house SEO or to use agency? Well, you probably were talking about it all day long, but well, obviously we're not talking about a big company, startups.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it all depends, really. Look into your own business structure. Startups, usually again, as somebody who's not specifically focused only on SEO, as a startup, I tend to say, hey, take some money, throw it into pay-per-click, throw it into a good social program, and then also, make sure your data is there. You're putting out good information on your website, have a blog and all of that. But specifically hiring an SEO company when you're really starting up, I tend to lean more on pay-per-click at the start just because I know SEO takes a lot more time to come in. But as soon as SEO starts kicking in for you, it can be a very powerful tool. So I don't want to neglect that. So usually I tell people, do some research and educate yourself if you're a small company startup to really try to put good information on there, really clean up your pages and everything, use a good social program, because I think social is tied to SEO. We see lots of benefit from sharing articles and different things like that to get it does great to get links for us. And so it's, that program is an SEO program in my mind. So do that. But then there's definitely going to come a point where I think you're going to need to hire agencies. Here we are a larger company, and I've got probably 4 people in-house who are focused on online marketing, but I also use agencies, and I'm specifically using agencies to help with link building, because looking at our strategy and where we are positioned in the industry, our on-page is on point with our competitors. Our off-page is where the biggest hole for us is. Other competitors are huge. They have a ton of links, and so there's a hole there for me. And I know that the best way to fill that hole as quickly as I can is to get help from other people. And so I'm reaching out to agencies to help with link building right now, because I've identified that as a hole for our business. And I think that's what's important: is look at your business, understand where your holes are, and then figure out how to fill them as quickly as you can. And that might be hiring somebody, but of course then you have to consider the onboarding process. But then you also have to consider, once that hole is filled, what are you going to do with that person? So I think all of these things are things that have to play into your decision. I like the idea of doing a combination of both, because in-house, it's really easy to affect your pages, your website structure, your technical structure. But again, and especially for me, our company is not a very aggressive company. So reaching out to somebody and saying, hey, I want a link, and you shared our content, you talked about our content, and that's great, but you didn't give us a link. Like, that's not something that my company does a lot of, but it's easy for me to pay somebody else to go and do that. So again, for my culture as well, it's something to consider.